Right. Why don't we get started?
Sure, we can get the intros
Perfect.
going here. And
So again,
welcome.
Thank you for taking your time today out of your busy day, growing your office. I promise to keep this thing in 20 minutes or less. We're going to stay focused. We're going to stay with pertinent information that we are going to talk about how to grow your office. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Paul Wiesner. I'm the CEO here at Realty Connection, and we bring you OnTask, the recruiting software. And with me is
Rob Sutherland, CEO of Pro Broker Agency. I used to be a professional recruiter. Now I've had a recruiting company that just works in the real estate industry for almost 10 years now. And Paul and I are our partners. We like to use the OnTask software for our host of recruiters that do phone calls for our clients every day. And it seems to be a great product, and we really enjoy using it. So Paul and I are putting these podcasts together every month to just talk about recruiting and different challenges that people have. And at the end, we'll have a chance for some people to ask some questions.
Exactly. And my history is I was CFO for Coldwell Banker, 25 offices here in Colorado, 2,000 agents. So I would talk to our managing brokers at least every month about recruiting and retention in their office. So excuse me. So, our topic today is identifying agents that are ready to make a move. So,
yes,
when you sell something, Rob, what do you look for? How do you know when someone's ready to sell or make a move?
Well, I think in any kind of business, you're looking at sales, you're thinking some key indicators of things where people are going to buy. Maybe someone's returned to your website multiple times. Maybe someone has come and look at a house multiple times, that type of thing. What's that expression from Glenn Ross that Alec Baldwin says, a guy don't walk on the lot lest he expected to buy. I don't know it perfectly, but anyways, it's something that relates directly to recruiting, because at the same, I think if more people look at recruiting like it's a sale, they're going to be more successful at it, because at the end of the day, you're trying to sell someone on your office, right? So there's going to be key indicators with that, potential recruit that are similar to identifying someone who's a potential sale. And so I think, Paul, you had an idea about that you wanted to share, or did you want me to get into that?
So again, when someone's ready to buy a car, you know it. When someone's ready to sell a house, you kind of know it. So the question is, how do you identify agents that are ready or that are in the process of making a decision? And what tools do we have through our partnership with Terradatum, the big trifecta, Terradatum, OnTask, and Pro Broker? How do you identify those agents that are possibly making a decision? Because those are the likely candidates. So there are a number of data points in our system that you can use to filter agents. So for instance, you've got agents that are trending upward. You got agents that are trending down. You might have agents that have moved up the value chain in the houses they sell. Maybe they're not selling townhomes anymore. They're moving up to single family homes, and maybe even $500,000 homes or more. So when you see those trends of an agent that is moving, they're more likely to be in a decision-making mode, right?
Absolutely.
And why would that be, you asked? So I have my thoughts, Rob. If an agent is trending upward, chances are they are in a discussion right now with their managing broker, right? They want better marketing. They want better splits. They want maybe some more training.
Yep.
So they're in a zone now where they're thinking about, what can I get for more, because I'm bringing more value to the agency. That's perfect time to go hit up that agent and give them the value proposition to your office, because they're thinking that they're having that discussion.
Absolutely. And I think the same goes for someone who may be trending downward as well. Maybe they've been at an office where they've had some success, and they're having a tough time, and they're kind of getting put on the shelf, and no one's paying any attention to them, but they were producing, in the earlier part of the year, that type of thing. And they've had a few tough months and that type of thing, and they're not feeling the love. And that can be a great time as well to kind of, I don't want to say swoop in, but swoop in and present what you've got to offer and try and show some love and show some support, because at the end of the day, it's residential real estate. So people, it is based on emotion. I mean, how many deals have gone sideways in the last 20 years because someone didn't like the cabinets or the flooring? It's a very emotionally based business. And that absolutely goes straight into how the real estate offices are run. Even when I used to work in the big Remax offices here in Vancouver, we would see it all the time. People are very emotional in the residential real estate business. And so that gives you an opportunity to present yourself as a broker or manager or an office as in a different kind of way. It's not just numbers and dollars and cents, it's support and culture and atmosphere. And those things can become so much more important to somebody who might be struggling. And sometimes maybe just hanging out with an agent a few times that's doing some different things to learn and to have some more training, or just to change their vibe up will be great for that agent, and they'll end up being more successful. So obviously it's a great thing to be able to identify an agent that is moving. Right. And I think that was our big our buzzword for this podcast, is to identify an agent that's moving, whether they're trending up or trending down, like Paul was saying. Maybe it's an agent that's been selling condos and selling a lot of condos and doing great at it. And now they built a reputation for themselves and they're starting to sell residential detached. And they're doing a lot better at that. And they're doing more and more deals for residential detached. Great time to reach out and see why they're trending upward. And if they're in, like Paul was saying, in a discussion with their office about fees or splits or something like that. And maybe that's something you had experience with, Paul, at your previous job there.
You always have someone arguing about splits, right? But the question is, if it only comes down to money, chances are that's probably not an agent that's going to be very good anyway. That's my experience. I mean, you want somebody that is built into the culture, understands the full course of when they go market a home, right? The last thing that agent's going to do is talk about, is it 7%, is it 6%, right? They're trying to sell their value proposition. Well, that's no different than you selling your agency to a new agent, right? You don't want to get caught up on that. So that's why when you identify an agent that's ready to move, chances are they're not thinking about just splits. There's something else going on, because their business is changing. That's when they're going to think about it. So once you get into OnTask and you go through your targeted list of recruits and you've sliced and diced it, maybe you have, here's my group of agents that are trending up, here's our trending down, here are agents in a certain zip code, or you can actually look at their last 12 months production and kind of find out what type of house they've been selling. Maybe, like I said, they move up the value chain. So now you got them. Now what do you do? Right now you got
custom scripts.
Right now it comes to scripting and selling.
Scripting.
If you just throw those people on a drip campaign and you don't put the personal sale to it, then it's just not going to go as far. And I know on OnTask, we're able to load in like their recent listings, their recent closing. So when you zip out that email, you can say, hey, Sally, congratulations on that new $500,000 house. I've been seeing you've been trending up. Maybe you should come in and talk to me. I can help you grow your business. That's a perfect script. And then with our relationship with PBA here, you can even take it a step further, because now instead of getting an email, they actually can get a personalized call. So Rob, tell us how that works again, and how you take that data, that agent, and then make the close.
Absolutely. I think, just to touch on, before we get into that, I think the importance of having a good list is a great factor in a recruiting campaign. It's very important. It's something you've got to look at. And when you're putting together your data, you want to start thinking about scripts. So if you just got a list of a bunch of people that you don't know and you can't really specifically target them, you're going to have a very generic sounding script. And when you call, it's not going to sound personalized. Whereas if you go in and use OnTask and start calling people, based off some of the production guidelines you got in there, or people who are moving, they're trending. So you can create some custom scripts there that target people that are moving up. And hey, congratulations, I saw that you were selling a lot of condos. I mean, obviously it looks like you've been following them, so it shows an interest in their business. But in the same respect, it's a compliment to them, because it's not just saying, oh, I heard you're doing really great and that type of thing. It's specifically getting into things about their business and hey, that house is a great transaction. Thank you for doing that deal with our agent, John. He really enjoyed working with you. Because obviously, if you're looking at that data, you can start seeing who's done the co-broker deals with your office. Very powerful calls to make. And those kind of custom scripts are something we deal with on a regular basis at Pro Broker Agency. You know, we've got a staff of recruiters that I've been building for quite some time now. And, you know, I used to recruit for Remax, you know, for half a decade and built 2 multi-office groups here. And scripts were a big part of it, but so was the daily outreach. I still say to this day, the most powerful thing I did at Remax was my couple of hours of calls in the morning, because that was what always kept the business pushing along. You know, I was known for, you know, doing a newsletter and things like that. And I think a lot of offices do a great job on sending out kind of a regular newsletter and doing some email marketing, but you've got to call those clicks. You can send out an email and go and look at all the data associated with it, but I guarantee you're not going to get a lot of responses back. And but you've got data and analytics to look at there too. So that gives you another chance to create some custom scripts where maybe that data that you used from OnTask is now in your newsletter, and then you're sending out something that's talking about, you know, something specific like an event. You can call them and say, hey, thanks for reading our newsletter. You know, I see that you got that message about our event, but you clicked the RSVP button, didn't sign up. Can we help you get registered? And start making more unique sounding calls than just like, you know, a regular old, hey, it's Rob calling on behalf of Paul at Coldwell Banker, and he'd love to talk to you on Thursday. Very vague, doesn't really qualify the lead, doesn't really find out what they're doing or who they are. And you don't even know who they are when you got on the phone. So there's just so many more tools now available to us as a recruiter compared to where I was at back in 2008.
Yeah, you're not thumbing through the blue book. So the data,
Yes.
the data is key. And as we touched on our prior podcast, you know, the data updates automatically. So, you know, you have the latest information about the agent's production, about where they're working, what their cell phone number is. We bring in all their social media. So we give you as much information as we can to help you identify not only who is a fit for your office, but also if that agent is ready to make a move. And then we will help tee them up so you can do what you do best, which is close the deal, right? So we obviously, we have a relationship with Rob's company here. We will also send out what we call High Five Recruiter. It's an add-on service where we will go in and email all of those agents that you have targeted that want to that either had a recent listing or a recent closing. Again, we bring in the closing address or the new listing address, we customize it, just a little more of a personal touch than a straight drip campaign.
Absolutely.
We are open any questions that you guys might have out there about recruiting or OnTask or, you know, services in general. The other thing Rob and I wanted to do is, you know, for our next podcast, we're thinking about having a guest or maybe a panel. So if you guys are interested, you need to reach out to us. And incidentally, I'm going to put in our contact information here, if I know how to do the, there we go. So you should all see that in the chat room to reach out to us. And again, we're here to help you. One of Rob's new taglines, which he's famous for coming out for, is recruiting is not a sideline event, or what?
Well, it's all about getting into growth mode, because when you're in growth mode, recruiting is not a side project. So with recruiting not being a side project, you realize that it's something that needs dedication every day. And I see we've got some questions coming in here. Paul, you can read those to me in a second, but that's one of the things that I think when you're looking at recruiting, and if it's been a side project and you're not dedicating enough time to it because you're busy selling, you're busy running the office, you're busy dealing with the realtors at your office, you're putting deals together, you're doing a lot of other things. So dedicating that time, the specific time in the morning, you know, 9:30 a.m. when people are just getting started, calling for an hour, getting appointments set for yourself a couple of days ahead, it gets put on the shelf. And so absolutely, if there's one thing that I always say is to get into growth mode, you've got to realize that recruiting is not a side project. And then when people are receiving your outreach, whether it's from Pro Broker Agency or if it's from somebody at your office, they can feel that there's an energy there, because that is one of the most important things, is spreading positive energy. Because it's contagious. People love it. People love feeling positive energy. They hate negative energy, but when they feel something positive, it's great. And especially if you can convey that in your recruiting and not make it feel like it's belabored and, oh, I've got to do all these meetings and I've got to, you know, do this recruiting that I don't like to do. Hire somebody that's on the phone all day that loves their job, like what we've got at Pro Broker Agency. We've got a lot of chipper people that love to make these calls.
Well, that fits perfectly into the question here. So the question we have is that this panelist would think that agents that are struggling would be prime for recruiting calls, which of course we agree with. So obviously, you don't want to mention that their production is down, but they're curious if that's even a greater signal that a move might be coming. So absolutely, obviously if someone is frustrated, and we all know, I've had plenty of friends that go into the real estate business thinking that, oh, but you're just making money hand over fist. Well, it just doesn't.
It's easy. You're just sitting at a coffee shop handing out business cards, making millions.
You got to work at it. So
absolutely,
yeah, people are going to get frustrated, and especially if their production is down, and they are ripe for a call. And yeah, when you call them, you don't want to say, well, gosh, I'm so sorry you're doing so poorly. Again, going back to Rob's energy comment, I think you say, I know you are a good agent. Clearly you have been in the past, and not every agency is fit for every broker. And I think you would do better at my office. We've got agents that sell in your neighborhood. We've got agents that like mentoring. So if you're a new agent, right, and you just need a little coaching, a little encouragement, because someone goes out there and they try to get that listing, they get shut down a few times. I mean, it's not easy. But if you're surrounded by other agents that, to Rob's point, have that energy and that growth mode, that's what you want to convey to those agents. So yeah,
and those are great. Yeah, those are great people.
An agent that is slipping in their production, they're going to be much more open to what you can do to help their business. And they're not going to be focused on, let's say, the agents that are moving into the high echelon of production, where they're going to be like, well, I want the corner office and I want the upper right-hand corner of any marketing piece. It's going to be a different conversation with that group of agents, and it might be even a harder one. But certainly the agents where their production is dipping, I think you have a much greater chance of reaching out to them. And there's a good chance that their managing broker probably is not paying as good of attention to them as well. So yes,
that's an opportunity to ask questions, right? Like those type of people, one of these, like if I was calling, for somebody that was having a struggling part of their career, struggling time in their career, and I knew they had good production before, that is a conversation about asking questions. That is not calling. I mean, Paul's got some great ideas there. I love that. It's fantastic. But to dovetail into that type of a proposition and start asking them specific questions, they'll fall in love with you, because that at the end of the day is the best way to make a sale, is to ask questions. I find that like I'll talk to one of our new clients and they've got a script that really, like hammers home their values and everything and their value proposition and all that kind of stuff. And getting past hello on the phone is enough of a challenge, let alone getting out a complicated mission statement. Getting on the phone and asking a couple of really strategic questions is much easier. How has your office been treating you lately? Are you getting the kind of support that you'd like to, from your office? Is there something that you would like to see that your office do that they're not doing? What is your ideal scenario? That type of things, and just get them talking, get them feeling comfortable about themselves, because the more they feel comfortable with themselves, the more they're going to think, okay, I'm going to come in with and have a meeting with these guys and talk to them, see what they're about. Because again, it is relationship building. And I think that the more you show interest in someone else's life, the more likely they are to be your friend. I mean, and so it relates to sales 100%. So I love that. I love that about recruiting. I think that's why I've got such a passion for it still, is that fact that it's getting to know people and finding out, how can you benefit their career and how can you help them improve?
So we're running up against our thing, and I'm a hard liner on keeping on track. So
was there only just the one question? I thought there was another question.
Oh, do you have any tips on being more unique with cold calling, as opposed to not sounding so bland and generic? Again, that's kind of a question for you, because you make the calls. So how do you make a call without just sounding so bland and like, how do you personalize it? And well, you got 1 minute, Rob. I'm going to keep you short.
I got a minute. Okay, I'll keep it on here. I'm timing it on my watch. So no. Obviously, if you'd like to, reach out to me. I love talking about recruiting and scripts and all that kind of stuff and how we personalize things. Paul put my number in there. But like we were just talking about, asking questions. that type of thing. Figuring out the right questions to ask before you're making the call makes it sound so much different than a regular cold call, right? Because if you're just cold calling and you're trying to do it like a survey or something like that, or someone who's calling to just, qualify something, it's not going to have the same impact as asking questions. And especially if you're trying to make it unique, and you can try and come up with some points that separate your office from what their office is offering. Because obviously, who you're calling, what they have to offer there. Maybe that there's some pain at that office, or there's some financial issues or something like that, or there's no leads, all that kind of stuff. It really gives you an opportunity to ask questions. And again, I'd love to chat with you more about that in person. I know Paul's got a hard stop here for a 20-minute podcast.
We got a couple more questions. I didn't know.
Okay, great.
I'm opening the chat box. There's also a question box. Would you know it?
Oh, good.
Obviously,
Awesome.
I'm not the programmer here at OnTask. So can we share a screen and show us some steps? So that was from one of our guests. Please reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through OnTask. We have a weekly Ask the Expert meeting where you can come on, and it's a little more of an intimate conversation, smaller group. We can go through some of the best practices. So I encourage you that are OnTask clients to attend that on every Wednesday, or just email us and we'll just give you a quick update. Another one said, add-on service. Which one is a slam dunk for an office that is in a new market? Well, I would say any of them are, right? I think, you've got the High Five Recruiter that we run, where we reach out to those agents that you targeted that had the recent listings and closings. And then of course you've got our partnership with Pro Broker Agency to make the calls. And the beautiful thing is all of our services are on a month-to-month deal, right? So if you want to ramp it up and see how it works, it's not like we're locking you into some long-term contract. That's not what we're about. We're about, if you're not happy with us at the end of 30 days and you want to leave, then you can leave. All right. So that's the key. So I would encourage anyone out there to try some of these add-on services, because you're not locked into a long-term agreement.
Yeah. Just to speak about that really quickly. One of the reasons we do a month-to-month here is so that our recruiters know they've got 30 days to earn the client's business. Basically, we go 20 hours at a time. And because we, I started the company like that, it really breeds a performance atmosphere, much like a real estate office. You've got to pay to play, you've got to get in there and get the results. And so that's why we do a 30-day contract with our clients, because we understand, and our recruiters understand, that they've got to get results in order for people to stay on. It's not just some year-long contract where they know they're going to get paid every day to sit there and do calls and not get any results. They've got to be creative. They've got to personalize it. We do a hefty meet and greet with the client. When they sign up, they get to meet the recruiter. They form a partnership together. So the more that when we make those calls, the more they're personalized, the more we sound like we're calling from your office, and that your recruiter sounds like a member of your team, the more likely we are to get an appointment that will turn into a positive.
Okay. We got a couple more questions. So
awesome.
What does the software cost? So our base package is $199. You need to have a broker metric subscription. That's how we pull in all of the MLS data. I can't quote you what Broker Metrics price is, because they've got different agreements. If you're with a major brand, sometimes if you're a smaller agency, they've got different pricing there, but we will help you get set up with Broker Metrics. And the Broker Metrics subscription doesn't mean you have to log into Broker Metrics every single time. It all automatically piles into our CRM. Then in terms of the add-on services, so if we're going to be emailing people on your behalf on that High Five Recruiter, that's 25 emails a day, and we charge $500 for that. And those replies go directly to the managing broker or the recruiter, however you want to identify it. And like I said, it's not a drip campaign. We will go and look at the listing and closing and put in some unique information so that that agent on the other end knows that this is not some drip campaign. And then for Rob services, it's $800 a month, and that is 20 hours of recruiting. And you might be like, oh, that seems a little high, but the reality is, for you to go out and hire someone full-time and have them call and do all of this tracking, and it's not going to be a month-to-month deal, you're going to be paying a heck of a lot more, right? And this way you've got someone that's fully trained, fully staffed, that can go ahead and make the calls. which, by the way, the calls are coming from your local number, right? Not going to
Yes.
be some call from, nothing against the Great White North. It's not going to be a 604 area code. It's going to be the area code in your state that you.
Yes.
So that's how much that
Yes.
costs. Yes.
I
the
should touch on really
MLS data
quickly
is
that
all MLS data
that's-
is all imported immediately.
That's why we love OnTask, by the way, because we know broker metrics, and it's a bit of an antiquated platform, or it's a bit of an older platform, which is fine,
Mhm.
but it's not web based. You know, you have to download it to your computer and go through it that way. And it's not a CRM either, so it doesn't take the data and organize it in any way. So that was one of the things I really thought was amazing when we came across Paul and OnTask, was that it did that, and it did it
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And then it had a caller built in, and you could send these little drip emails back and forth and things like that. And it really takes the data to another level that way. And then obviously, you know, we're going to be raising our prices again soon. So get it at $800 while you can.
So, and Terradatum loves us. Broker Metrics, we have a great working relationship with them. We've been
Absolutely.
integrating. In fact, we're the only CRM that fully automatically integrates with Broker Metrics. There are other CRMs out there that say they integrate with Broker Metrics, but they don't. What you end up doing is you export a spreadsheet, upload back into their CRM. Don't have to worry about that with ours. It's all other.
And you got to do that all the time. You got to do that all the time. It doesn't give you the updated
Right.
data on like a regular
No.
basis. You got to update, download, and update the list all the time. And it's never going to be as easy for a couple extra $100 a month.
Let's see. All right, let's just take one more question here. So another
Sure.
one is, can we log a mass voice call at once? They know they can log in a mass text, but they also want to do calls at once. I don't have the answer to that. That I will try to get you an answer.
That sounds like a
I know you can do
robocaller
voice
or something.
I think you can do voice broadcasts on our phone. I just don't know if you can do a mass thing. And of
Yeah.
course, you know, enough people ask for that, we can program that in if you'd like. So
All right.
I think we're gonna wrap it up. So again,
Thanks,
don't
Alejandra.
hesitate
Thanks,
to
Cassidy.
reach out to us. I'm gonna paste our info in there one more time. If you have any questions, we're happy to help you.
Yes,
And I think
absolutely.
the key thing, we'll just close on, so our next podcast will be circulating our thoughts on topic. If any of you want to be a guest, or if you want to be a panelist, we'd love to have you. We can do a little roundtable discussion.
Yes, please.
Yeah, specific topic.
Please, if you got some questions, like we'd love to have a guest on our show. If you see some
Right.
things here you'd like to chat about, and we can keep you busy for 20 minutes, obviously. So we'd love to have
29
somebody come on our
minutes
show.
now.
Is it
But I guess to
29?
finish up
Oh.
on
There
coffees
we go.
for closers. We'll finish on the
There we go.
Glengarry League. Coffees for
Excellent.
closers. So have a wonderful day. Happy recruiting. Glad.
Thank you for tuning in.
You being our clients. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Have a great day.